Everyone, my name is AnnickMagac. I am the author of Clear, How to Simplify Your Life and Live More Fearlessly. I am also a coach, a designer, and a motivational speaker. And today I want to talk to you guys about mastermind groups. This is something that personally has been fulfilling and inspiring and has helped me in my own life. I've been part of different masterminds over the years, but I'm one currently that is just phenomenal. It's a group of women. And thank you, Sabrina, trying out a new color too. And I wanted to talk to you guys about Mastermind. I just recently had a lunch with a fellow entrepreneur who reached out to me and said, hey, I know that you do this Mastermind group. You're always talking about it. And I'm thinking of starting my own group. Now, this particular woman she's also a fellow speaker. She's a creative, and she wants to get a mastermind group together to play. This is her theory, is that she feels like adults should have more play in their lives. And so what she wants to do is create this mastermind around people who are like-minded in trying to find joy as an older adult versus, being a kid. So her age range that she's looking for is between 50 and above. So let me back up a little bit and let's just talk about what an actual mastermind is. A mastermind is when you have a group of people come together with a common conscious choice of coming together. So for instance, I'm in this mastermind with women. We're all women who are in the group. Now, you don't necessarily have to say, yes, exactly, women who are all brilliant and motivated and amazing and smart and good looking. So when you start a mastermind, you want to get together people with similar interests. Now, sometimes this means that it's just men or it's just women. Sometimes it can be co-ed depending on the environment or the subject. And sometimes what'll bring people together is the topic. And for me, this current mastermind that I am in, we are all entrepreneurs online, and that is our commonality. We also happen to be in health and fitness. So that's the second part that we have a commonality. And if you want to see what we all look like on my Instagram, today there's a picture from when we all got together at an event in North Carolina earlier this year. And there's another one coming in who's saying that we are all amazing. So obviously we do give each other good support. So why would you want to be in a mastermind? So perhaps you're not in health and fitness, but you're in a different field. Perhaps you are an executive. Maybe you work for your local newspaper. Perhaps you work on a production line. You're a manager. Maybe you deal in shipping. All these different areas that we have, you can do a mastermind in. And the point of having a mastermind or being involved in a mastermind is that oftentimes when we are working and we are in our work environment, it's hard to, in our daily grind, step back and actually think about the bigger picture. So for instance, when I was a sales and marketing manager, I was so busy that during the day I wouldn't necessarily have time during say the 9 to 5. I wouldn't have time to sit back and look at the bigger picture and interact with other sales managers and brainstorm. Perhaps, you do what you do every day, right? And sometimes you'll have a special project where you get to think out of the box. Sometimes you have to present these ideas to your boss to sell or get a buy-in, or you're feeling stale in the work that you're actually doing. A mastermind can be a great way to kind of break out of that day-to-day drudgery that you're experiencing or that staleness that may occur. Masterminds are great for creative people, oftentimes creative people. And when I say creative, I don't just mean the traditional sense of an artist or a musician, because I think that there are a lot of professions out there that are creative. Engineering, architecture, being a manager, running a company, there are all very creative endeavors. So when we are working, it's hard to step back, get a bigger perspective and think, am I doing this the best way? Am I producing products? Am I designing things that are right for my customer? Am I, getting the support I need just in my day-to-day, such as sometimes masterminds just are a place where you need to vent or say, I'm having this problem with my company. I'm trying to accomplish X, Y, and Z in my role at this level. Does anybody else have experience in this? Does anybody have any recommendations that I could take or use and then go and talk to somebody else that you recommend? Masterminds are about networking, they're about connecting, they're about sharing ideas, and they're about personal growth. So I recommend a mastermind to everybody, that everybody in some capacity be involved with them. So what makes a successful mastermind? Well, there's a few key ingredients to having and retaining a great mastermind group. Sometimes what can happen is that either the group gets stale, or there's not enough people. Sometimes there's too many people. Sometimes there's a conflict of interest. Sometimes people just move on. They change their focus in their life. They do different things. They, are interested or not interested. So how could you start your own mastermind group if you can't find one? Sometimes you can find ones that exist. Of course, the internet is a great place, or word of mouth, which I would highly recommend. But if you are going to start your own mastermind, some things to think about is the actual number of people. I believe that staying on the smaller side is better than actually being on the bigger side. So I think that the most effective groups are 6 to 10 people. And I say this because when you get together or you do a phone call, and you can set them up in a variety of ways, but when you have a smaller group, it allows everybody to participate and to speak up. If you start to get over 10 people, it's not as intimate. It might be good for networking, and that might be more the focus than actual feedback on business or changing ideas. Okay, great. So I have somebody here, Mary Alice, who agrees with me on the size. Being very selective about who you choose in the group is important. I think we have all been in a work environment where we all know that all it takes is one rotten egg to ruin a good thing. So you want to vet who you're actually bringing in. You also want to make sure that the group has an agreement that it's actually working. Now, in our particular mastermind that we're doing right now, yes, and that you need guidelines. So in our mastermind group right now, what we're doing is every 3 months we stop and we recalibrate and say, okay, is this working? Is this working for you, and is this working for me? Do you want to continue with being in the group? If somebody in the group has a life change that either they don't want to be part of their business, maybe their focus has changed and they no longer want to do health and fitness, but they want to. You've worked with Scramble Leads, I bet. I mean, everybody, there's always somebody you're just like, man, I wish was not working with that person. Now, the key, though, is that in a mastermind, you can actually vet that and get it so it is a group that you want to work together. And it's important to have that open dialogue. And if there is one person that is actually creating a strife or problems, in the onset, and this is really big about setting up the guidelines before you start a mastermind, is that when you set up the guidelines, you need to be very clear. And so when I was saying that we have this 3-month check-in, things happen. Life happens, people change, scenarios change, economic status changes. There's all these different things that can happen. So every 3 months to stop and say, okay, I'm in or I'm out. If I'm in, great. If I'm out, I don't need to explain why. I don't need to make amends. I don't need to justify a reason why or why not I'm leaving. It's just that sometimes things happen. And so if you've got that openness to say, do what's best for you, because in the end, that's also what's going to be best for the whole group, then it's important to keep that open dialogue. So setting up guidelines up front, very important. Also deciding, sometimes predetermined, how long do you want to run the mastermind for? Sometimes when they're indefinite, again, they can get stale over time. And thank you, that there can be, when there's staleness, there's a lack of creativity. And so what's the point of having the mastermind? So sometimes blocking out and saying, okay, we are going to run this mastermind for 1 year. And even within that 1 year, we're going to have those 3-month check-ins just to make sure that everything is fresh. Because a mastermind is about sharing ideas and being creative and helping each other out when you need it. And so we want to make sure that nobody gets distracted or gets, again, stale, because stale is a bad thing. We get enough of that in our daily lives with our work. So a mastermind is to be able to continue that creativity. So I'm going to end here with those points. And if this is a topic that you enjoy and would like me to talk to more or have questions about, because like I said, I had lunch with this lady recently and we spent a good 2 hours just talking about masterminds. So I can go on and on and on about this, but I know you have other things to do tonight, like eat your dinner. So reach out to me. My email is info@AnnickMagac.com, ANNICKMAGAC.com. Or you can find me on social media and, send me a tweet saying, hey, got a question. This is it. I will answer it on a future scope. And that's true. And I'm going to try to keep these Periscopes not stale, so I'm going to keep them on the shorter side. But I appreciate you guys joining me this evening, and have an awesome night. Ciao.